Hello everybody, we're back in 80 days. Apparently we could sell our wine here for a pretty good price, so we're gonna do that right off the bat. How much? 180. Vienna. Curse Vienna. Alright, Indian airships. I think we're headed to... Okay, so... Nothing to really buy here and sell, so we're gonna just discover some new routes. Novodisk, Mount Elbrus, Tenran, then Barabbas, and back. Dhaka to Karachi, Delhi, Bombay, go Bangalore, Colombo. Wow, this has given us quite a bit of planning. Alright, so... Alright, let's plan. So, Vienna is back there, so we're gonna sell off that before we're gonna sell that off. What we really want is to go to Istanbul. That's another player. Oh yeah, all these other dots that pop up are other players that are taking the same journey as you, which I think is pretty neat. Okay, so we're going to go to Theslo. We'll pass the night here, and we'll see what goes on during it. I went for a cup of coffee in the evening and ended up seated opposite of a group of men talking in Russian. I leant over to listen. "We will send the word to Moscow. As for you," the speaker prodded his friend in the shoulder, and their voices dropped to an audible whisper. In return, I dropped a teaspoon and leant in closer as I picked it up. Head to Odessa from... my goodness. Head to Odessa. From there, take the freight train. The god is my... I'm losing my accents here. The god is my brother. Give him the watchword Gorbachev, and he will help you. The second man nodded. Pleased with my eavesdropping, I paid the bill and returned to the hotel. So... Odessa and Odessa and... That's fine, but we're going to depart. Alright, we're gonna alter this. Leave tomorrow. We're gonna leave tomorrow because we can. Alright, and we're gonna explore. And see what comes of it. Sofia to that. Sofia was a small Ottoman-style town full of hammams and coffee shops. Its public squares were arranged around bright fountains, and the museums of mosques nestled alongside Eastern Orthodox churches. I spent the morning being steamed, pounded, kneaded, and pressed at one of the well-appointed bathhouse with Monsieur Fogg, who looked deeply troubled by the entire experience. Relaxation was not really Monsieur Fogg's forte, and I pitied him, his stiffness, though not as much as I pitied the monsieur who would be attempting to ease it from his muscles. After our massages, we were ushered into the steam room along with 3 other fellows. I nodded at them, and they returned the favor with the courtesy of a gentleman pretending very hard to be wearing more than a small towel around their waists. Monsieur Fogg, looking prim as ever, began reading a newspaper. I dared not speculate where he procured it from. The coals from the brazier sputtered as the gentleman continued the conversation in rapid tones. I helped Monsieur Fogg dress himself after our bath. That was certainly an experience, he allowed as I adjusted his cravat, though not one I care to repeat. I fear I have much to learn of my master's tastes. Hey, we strengthened our relationship with Monsieur Fogg, and we are steadfast, whatever that means. Alright. Well, no, we gotta wait here. One more night. Sorry, Monsieur Fogg. With what remained of the day, I spent a while talking to the hotelier and learning what I could, but gathered little that Monsieur Fogg would be interested in. Sometimes that will tell you, different things, like different paths. Alright, so you see there we could take 9 damage, but we have the set that will prevent a little bit of that, thankfully. So, we boarded a 6-seater public carriage in the early hours for the short trip into Greece. We're going to converse and try to get into Istanbul. Which can you tell me if this... Istanbul? Absolutely, to get to Istanbul from aboard the Istanbul Express. Excellent! How about Odessia? Hydrofoil. Goodbye. Alright, so we have found some different ways. The trip from Sofia to the coastal city of Thessalonica was mercifully brief, and came with the unexpected bonus of one of Madame Saucerius, a palmist, who was returning to visit her husband for, she said, her biannual sojourn. I inquired about this strained marriage, and after much hedging she revealed her partner was an active member of the Greek Senate, a fellow who would be severely embarrassed should the news of his being wedded to a psychic become common knowledge. But do you not resent the separation and secrecy, I asked. It is no big matter, she shrugged. I knew it was coming after all. I could not argue with that. Star-crossed lovers indeed. I saw Monsieur Fogg raising his eyebrow at me, so I finished our conversation politely and settled into the carriage. He does not approve of such augury, but only, I think, because it consumes time. We are now polished, whatever that means. Thessalonica. Alright. Market. We're gonna get rid of this darn wine because we can't sell it anywhere else. Istanbul. Alright. And Istanbul. Because we are going to Istanbul. Let's see. Istanbul. 11 a.m. I don't want to go to Istanbul. Alright, so Istanbul, that's not discovered yet. Novorisk. Alright, what we're going to do is we're going to explore and then go tomorrow. Izmir. The people of the city are crazy. They go out in the evenings and tear down what remains of their city wall, and I have never seen such a thing. Granted, it is not as though the walls keep anything out. They encircle barely half the city and are easily scalable due to the quantity of rubble piled up this side and that. I stopped the young woman and asked what they were doing, but she only laughed in my face. You may not know our city now, she replied, not in the least bit answering my question, but soon we will encompass the entirety of Greece. A mighty prize, I agreed in earnest, and she nodded wildly before raising the sledgehammer she had brought along for the occasion. She set about the ancient walls once more, and I stayed nearby and helped out. But though I got the spirit of the action, I must be honest, I did not enjoy it. I am a gentleman's gentleman, and my handiwork is delicate. I wanted to get some. Good to see that. See, we're well armed with that hammer. All right, Istanbul. All right, hotel for one day. Day 8. We're already. As night fell. I engaged another guest in a conversation to find out what I could, but attained nothing but snippets of local gossip. Darn. Depart. Istanbul. Alright, so we want to get to Istanbul to Novorisk. And here we go. We boarded the train promptly, despite a crazed man blocking our path. I moved him aside gently and made sure he did not touch my master. Good job. Apostles. Istanbul. Novorisk. One can board the SS Shopanika from Istanbul to Novorisk. Novorisk to Krendovisk? Tiran. Alright, so we only got a thing going to Novorisk, unfortunately. The coastal train from Thessalonica to Istanbul appeared to be determined to go the long way around, as if the builders had preferred to stay in sight of the sea at all times for the good of their health. I enjoyed the fresh air myself, of course, with the sun shining on the Aegean quite beautifully, and I could not have been happier lazing by its shore if it was not for the importance of our mission. On board, I fell in with a middle-aged Greek couple who was going to Istanbul to meet their daughter. I asked them about the journeys through the Middle East, but they shrugged. Our daughter is studying in Alexandria, the mother said, so we've been to Egypt, to Luxor. The tombs there were the most incredible, but we'd never crossed the Red Sea. The train pulled up at Srinki Terminal, and I waved the couple off as we disembarked. All right, let's strengthen those bonds. All right, we're going to sell all of our hammer. Where did we get a hammer? Alright. No, not the evening jacket. The leather braces. And the stopwatch. The pith helmet. Eastern spices. Alright, nothing to buy, so we're gonna transfer our hammer over. We're gonna exit. And we're going to plan. So, Novodisk. Tomorrow at 12 noon. Perfect timing. Alright. Hotel, and we will... I woke the morning with the silks of an Ottoman harem girl. Uh-oh. Worse yet, I was in the forbidden woman's apartment in Tobin Palace. It came back to me all too clearly. A shuttered, noisy Armenian tavern, many cups of raki, the unexpected potent local liquor. A smiling Greek merchant selling me one of the incomparable mosaics of the harem of the Topiki Palace, home of the wives and the coal-eyed concubines of the Sultan. But men are forbidden to enter the harem, he warned, on pain of death. He lured me into a wager, which I had not the good sense to refuse. Curse my weakness for such a fine mosaic. I bartered for a costume, reasoning that I could disguise myself as a repair woman, apparently, and stride right through the front doors of the palace. I claimed I had been summoned to see a faulty water boiler used for serving tea, and was let in with minimal fuss. It seems that even the sultans and their wives are servants to the vagaries of plumbing. I was unable to escape the same way, however. A lady blocked my path, demanding my costume in return for hers. Madam, I will be killed if I am found here, I protested. This is better hurry up, then, she replied. We are both getting out of here now. I did exactly as she told me. Soon she was a repair woman, while I was a lady the guards did not recognize or care about, and together we walked out to the front door. My new friend thanked me as I thanked her, and she disappeared into the streets. I found Monsieur Fogg reading the newspaper back at our lodgings. He looked up and blushed a most violent shade of red as he took in my attire, setting his cup down with uncharacteristic force. I gave my and yet somehow the matter quietly dropped. Sometimes, I confess, I do admire the English. Ooh, that could have been bad. Merv? I don't know where Merv is. Ooh, this is going to be rough on Monsieur Fogg. The SS Sopochika began its journey up the Bosphorus, across the expanse of the Black Sea, precisely at the stroke of noon. The Sopochika's captain, Briliv, ran the passenger ferry with the tyrannical precision of a military commander. In him, Monsieur Fogg had found a kindred spirit. Hey, nice. So we're going to Teresterin? Or what's this? A. It's hard to remember these. Artificer expedition rumored for the North Pole. Darn, we missed that. So all these little paper things are actual storylines that you can go on. Aboard the Zod boat, time passes slowly. I offered my services to the crew. They sent me to carry coal between the store and the screw propeller engines aft. The boiler room was a splendid sight. From the galley I could see the expanse of the scalding boiler drums and flashing copper pistons pumping away. Everywhere were sailors covered in sweat and dust, shoveling the coal into blistering furnaces, shouting at one another, oiling hinges, checking pressure dials. A familiar-looking repairman walked past me and nodded to me. I gave a cheer, which earned me a few knowing chuckles from the nearby sailors. I was not alone in my appreciation for a nicely turned crosshead engine. I fell into my narrow bunk that night, utterly exhausted but content, and even more polished. Uh-oh, took damage. Monsieur Fogg. We're gonna tend to you in a minute. Greetings, Monsieur. Nevorosk. Escarim? How about Terracin? Okay, so apparently the quicker way is to go to Terracin first. So I guess we'll do that. I found a little girl in the cargo hold. I could not tell you who screamed the loudest when we stumbled upon each other, but she immediately recovered her wits and kicked me in the shin. I backed away quickly, fearing a second assault on the other shin. She gave me a resentful glare. "And who are you, little miss?" I asked, stepping back a little to show I meant no harm. Her eyes dimmed slightly. "I am no one," she announced sadly. "Please forget you ever saw me." I offered her a trinket from Monsieur Fogg's baggage, the silken harem clothes, which she took before turning up her nose. "These are the clothes of a court-dancing girl. I do not wish to know how you came by such things." "But how do you recognize them?" I replied. She looked unsure, but then gave a great gulping sob and confessed all, won over by my tiny gift. "I am Princess Fahim, daughter of the Sultan Murad," she declared, "and I am running away." Uh-oh. Alright, Monsieur Fogg, we'll heal you up a bit. I awoke from my restless slumber, determined to make a decision about my discovery of the runaway princess in the cargo hold. If I kept her secret, I would be responsible for letting a sheltered girl of 8 years wander unprotected into a strange city. For Monsieur Fogg, of course, the correct course would be unquestionable, but sometimes he is too much a gentleman. I said nothing of the princess to anyone. I continued as normal, shoveling coal and attempting to avoid the captain's ire. In my spare moments, I sought out Femine. She had disappeared from the cargo hold. I started to climb to clear my head, and emerged into the upper decks just as we came into sight of Tiris Bay, and the gentle hills rising behind the Russian port town of Novorossiysk. Monsieur Fogg bid the captain a fond farewell, and we disembarked in good time. As for Fahim, well, we never saw her again, but I cannot think but her fate must have been terrible. One way or another, alone in the world is a hard way to live. Well, that's not terrible. She could have found somebody who loved her. We should explore a little. What's this? Alright. Scented candle. Minsk. Alright, what are we going? We're going to Tisserand and then Escarim. And then maybe we're a little too low for the... Maybe that was the Oriental Express? Alright, Escarim maybe to Merv. So if we're going to Merv... This was in Merv. Okay, so we'll hang on to that for now and explore. Mount Elbrus and Tiran. Novorossiysk is a merde. Very nice city. Yermont is a wine-growing region. Who knows less Russians enjoy the civilized plaisir of a glass of vin blanc. I, Passepartout, am determined to embrace the local culture and their wonderful vendange. What would Monsieur Le Foggy Fogg say to that, eh? Eh? He would say, "Passepartout, you are drunk." And I would reply, "I am drunk, and pas to you, monsieur, pas indeed. My head, oh goodness me, what day is it? Your humble servant is most regretful and tender this morning, and has little to add on the subject of the harbour town of Novisk. Suffice to say, I would be very happy never to be reminded of it, or its abundant vineyards ever again. Oh, come on, Passepartout, you couldn't stinking... No. No. Where would that go? Merv? Let's head up here and see where we get. Ooh, oh my gosh, negative 46. What the? Ugh. We have a decision to make. Next time on 80 Days.